Hello and welcome to Face the Podcast, the vidcast and podcast for family and children's entertainers. My name is Gordon and I am a professional children's entertainer in the south of London, and this is my podcast where I shine a light on all of the children's entertainers and family entertainers throughout the world. Today I am very pleased to say we have Jelly Kelly, or Kelly Robinson. She's better known as Jelly Kelly, and she's one of these people who have way too much energy. I don't know quite where she gets it from. She gets asked this a lot. We actually touch on that during her interview. She is a lovely lady. She's been doing children's entertainment for many years now, having seen someone performing and deciding that she can do better than they did. We talk about all sorts of things in her interview. We talk about how she's got some tips for noisy parents and how you get them involved in the show. She talks about noisy venues as well, and some ideas about how to reduce all the echo that you get. We also talk about using puppets within her show, and we touch on what she believes is the reason that makes her so manic in her shows. So all of that to come. Let's get straight into it and talk to Jelly Kelly. So welcome to Kelly Robinson, better known to all of us as Jelly Kelly. Welcome to Face the Podcast.
Oh, thanks, Gordon. It's an absolute honour to be here with you and see your smiling face on Zoom.
Oh, how lovely. Well, it's lovely to have you. And you've been doing children's, I should say family entertainment, really, because I think you are one of the people in the UK that try and encompass as many people as possible, including all the adults. And you're one of these people who quite like to have the adults watching your show rather than sending them off somewhere. So we'll touch on that very shortly. But let's go right the way back to, was it 2001 when you started?
You've been doing your homework.
I've been doing my homework. So tell us a little bit about, how you got into it, because your story is, and I've said this many times on Face the Podcast, but it's different to how other people have done it. So lots of people sort of they get into magic as a kid and then they continue up and all of a sudden they're an entertainer. And that's not what happened to you, is it?
No.
Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah. I was at the time I was working as an agent for film crew out of Shepperton Studios, which is a lovely job. I had lots of fun. I was at the top of where I could be. It was only me and one other woman in the office, and she was the owner. I couldn't move up in the business anymore or even get more of a pay rise, and my daughter was 3 and I was looking for other work, and I was being offered things like, right now I could be a producer in commercials living in some mansion in Hampstead with an au pair and all that. But those women were not very nice women. I dealt with them on a daily basis and I didn't want to be one of them. I didn't want an au pair to look after my child. She was born in August, so she was a young kid, so I knew she was going to be going to school soon at this point, which I'm about to get to. I was thinking, I don't want someone else to do her homework with her and pick her up from school. That's my job. I'm the mum. And film industry, you've got to sell your soul. If you're in it, you are in the film industry, your family comes second. And it's just the way it really is. And I thought that was not for me. And one day, it was on a Saturday, I took her to a friend's party. She was only 3. And they had an entertainer. And don't ask me his name, I can't remember. But he was an old boy. I know that he's probably dead now. He probably is, actually. He was quite old then. And he was doing this show, and I sat there thinking, oh, God, mate, I could do better than that. Jesus. He wasn't seeing the age of the children. He wasn't being appropriate to their mental age. They were only young. He did a balloon twist that I thought at the time was like, I was impressed with that. But looking back on it, that was crap too. But at the time, I was like, oh, you can balloon twist, well. Anyway, he did his show and left. And the kids are prone to started to run feral in their own, like, with nothing to do. So I just got them all over to me because I've got a good way with kids. And I started doing musical bumps, Simon Says, just keeping them doing something. And 3 parents who to come up to me and tried to book me, thinking I had been the entertainer.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
So I went up to my friend at the end of the party and went, how much did you pay that guy for that show? And she told me £160 for an hour. And this is back in 2001, and I was like, what? £160 for that? Oh my God, I'm going to be a kids entertainer. And that was my instant decision. I went in on a Monday.
So it was all about the money. That's what it was.
It was literally, and also it wasn't about the money, but it was also the fact that I could work weekends. My husband, or now ex-husband, my husband at the time, he could look after at weekends, work during the week. I could go and work weekends. We didn't have to pay for childcare, which I was doing all the time with childcare in the film industry. I was forking out so much money for someone else to be there for my child. And I thought, this is it. I can be a kids entertainer. And I went in on the Monday morning and gave a month's notice to my boss. Boom, there you go. Went, I'm going to be a kids entertainer. I'm out. I hadn't got any training. I hadn't even got anything. I didn't even know how to twist a balloon dog. I gave a month. And then I thought, right, I better do something about this now. Put my money where my mouth is. All my family, they were going, you're mental. What are you doing? You're throwing away your career in the film industry. You're on the up here, Kelly. I was 25, so I was at that point just about to go boom, and up I go. And they're going, you're an idiot. What are you doing? And I went, no, I'm going to be a kids entertainer. I just ignored everyone's advice. Went and bought a VHS video, because this is pre-Google. This was before YouTube. So I went and got a VHS video and learned how to balloon twist. And I sat there and I learned to balloon twist. I sat on my doorstep one day trying to perfect the tulip twist. I must have gone through 100 balloons. And anyone who walked past, I'd just give them a balloon, because I didn't want them in the house. I said, take a balloon, take a balloon. They looked awful.
The crazy balloon lady.
I was literally sitting on my doorstep going, I'm just practicing. And then I'm quite a creative and artistic person, so I knew I could face paint, so I bought some face paints and did that. And at first, my first few jobs were doing games, face painting and balloon twisting. And I was getting repeat booking, I'm getting recommended just off that, but I knew I wanted to do a show. I was born to perform. I want to do a show, but where do you buy magic? Again, no Google. There was no internet shops then. It was very new. The internet was quick. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you had to be in the knowledge to know where to go.
Yeah. And I'd advertise in the yellow pages that used to come. There's one advert a year, and that was like used to do me, and that was it. I didn't have to do social media and all this other stuff. Anyway,
which is great as long as you got your telephone number right. I know of an entertainer who put his Yellow Pages ad in, and they changed his number between him signing it off and then printing it, and he had a whole year with no inquiries because
I bet he'd upset them somehow, and they did it.
Well, maybe.
How'd you do that? That's what I'd do if I was Yellow Pages. Eliminate the competition. Anyway, there's this guy in my local area called he used to be, he's retired now, called Billy Bonkers, and I knew he was a really good entertainer, and I know that his eldest daughter from his first marriage had gone to school, same school as me, was in my sister's year, and so I kind of knew her. So I kept ringing up and leaving messages for Billy Bonkers. Hi, my name's Jelly Kelly. I'm a new entertainer here. Please can you tell me where you get your magic props? I really want to talk to you. I really want to know where you buy your magic props. He ignored me. Constantly ignored me, until one day I was booked as a face painter, and I turned up at a party and it was Billy Bonkers there. I was like, gotcha. Right, so I walked up to him. Hello, Billy. Yeah, basically, hi Billy Bonkers, it's me, I'm Jelly Kelly, I've been the one who's been leaving you messages. And he went, he went, I can't get away now, can I? I went, nope. Where'd you buy your props? And he went, I tell you what, I'll take you there. And he took me to Jugglemania, Rick Eagles, back in Surbiton, back in the day, and he took me to Jugglemania, and I had my daughter then, who's like only 3, and he took her next door to buy sweets and left me in the magic shop, and I bought a couple of props, which I still use today, like Trigger's broom. I've replaced them since then, but they're still in the act, a couple of these props still to this day, because they're brilliant props. And I took them home and I taught myself some magic, and I created an act, and it just took off so fast for me. It was meant to happen. It was really, I was meant to.
You are definitely a born entertainer. You're right in that. I mean, you exude entertainment from every pore. Every time I meet you, you're smiley, you're bubbly. I don't think I've ever seen you sort of quiet or sitting in a corner somewhere. You're always part of the action, which is
I like to be in the thick
perfect.
Of it. But that's how I grew up. My dad should have been a kids entertainer, and when I did it, when I started doing it, my dad went, "Oh God, I wish I had thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? I'm too old now. I've got the patience, little That's what he said. I went beep. The little things go. But back in the day, would have, because a typical like afternoon for me. So we're having a family barbecue with some friends over. My dad would be cooking burgers in a full-sized emu puppet costume. And attacking anyone who came near the food. And he'd be on there with the emu doll, the puppet, and I mean, that was just my childhood. That was my childhood. Yeah.
So you basically got your your character from your dad, and
I definitely got my ADHD from my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hereditary.
We'll come to ADHD because
that's again part of it. My dad definitely, even though he's undiagnosed, he definitely has it because that's where I get it from. And you can see how he was when I was growing up. You'd be like, oh yeah.
And he's a great supporter of yours as well, I know, because he's part of the business, really, isn't he?
He helps me with the technical computer things, and when I can't get my dad to help me, I ask you, Gordon, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Gordon, help! But yeah, my dad, and he's part of my sister's business as well, and helps her with that. He's
that's really nice.
Both my parents are very supportive.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
Definitely,
because you don't feel like you're on your own. You don't feel like you're alone trying to do it yourself. You've got that sort of support behind you.
Yeah, so in fact, only yesterday I was trying to work out a new song to change one of my acts that I do. I'm going to make it a bit Halloween-y for this gig that I've got coming up that's seen me like 3 years in a row. I want to put some new things in there, and I needed music for a girl to get up to, which is normally for adults, and it's normally stripper music. I'm like, I can't do that with a small kid. Those days are gone that you could get away with stuff, and not in the 70s anymore. So I was like, oh, what music should I use? So I just rang Dad, who's my go-to. And in lockdown, we were in lockdown, and I was one of the first entertainers in the country to be up and running within 10 days of lockdown with virtual shows. It's because my mum and my dad would meet me on Zoom, and I would get it there, and I'd go through it with them, and I'd show it, and they could let me know my angles, what was working, what wasn't, could they hear me. They were just there. If I need them, they're there for me, and so supportive, which does, like you say, make a huge difference.
Big difference. Yeah, we'll come back to the Zoom shows, but your name, Jelly Kelly, I mean, was that the name that you had on your first show, or was that something that involved, or was it a name you had before you even started entertaining?
It was, I needed a stage name, and sorry, not being well. I needed a stage name, and it was going to be maybe, I put out a few, I'm trying to remember the ones now, and I put them out to friends and family saying, right, which one do you think's the best? And one was Kelly's Capers.
Okay.
Right, I can't even remember the other ones now, but Jelly Kelly was in the mix, and everyone liked Jelly Kelly. And because back when we were kids growing up, you used to go to a party and have jelly and ice cream. That was the party food.
It's hardly ever used these days.
Don't often get it now, but for me, being born in 75, jelly and ice cream was the thing. So Jelly Kelly, it sounded silly, funny, it had a party reference in my head. It's catchy, people remember it. It's a very easy name to remember.
And it rhymes,
Jelly Kelly,
always
give
good.
It some welly, it's my magic words there. Everything, it's a good name, I like it. It's me. I answer to Jelly now.
Jelly, okay.
I do. You say Jelly.
In real life.
Yeah. I get called Jelly all the time by people, and I don't even blink. It's part of it. It is me now. I'm just Jelly.
That's brilliant. So I mean, was that your first show? You went out doing Jelly Kelly, or did it take a little bit of time to get that character's name?
No, it's all in that 1 month of me learning to do it.
So you basically handed in your notice and went, right, now I've got a month to get myself up and running as a children's entertainer.
Yep.
Gosh.
Gave myself 1 month. I mean, it didn't take off, obviously, in 1 month, but within about 3 months, I think I was getting repeat bookings.
That's amazing. Yeah. And did it coincide with the Yellow Pages ads? So did you get a Yellow Pages ad in for that? Or how were you getting bookings at the beginning?
God, I can't remember. It's so long ago. I must have been able to put myself in the Yellow Pages.
Yeah, okay.
I must have been able to. I honestly can't remember that long ago, those details. I know that I was almost having a bit of a break because I'd worked non-stop since coming out of college and having a baby. And when she was 2 months old, going straight back to work, and I'd worked, and I kind of wanted a bit of time with her before she went to school. And that was my first job was in April or May of 2001, and she started school in September. So I had a bit of time off with her a bit. I was doing things with my daughter.
Okay.
Just having fun.
It was just the right time then, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I kind of really got serious. I can't remember when I got in the Yellow Pages, but I mean, at the time there was only me, Billy Bonkers, and Jolly Dolly in my area. 3 people, and there's not enough people for all the kids in the area. I could have back then cloned myself 20 times and still turned away work. It was
Yeah.
mental busy.
It was
So
really
much work.
busy at that sort of time, wasn't it?
But there's less people doing it.
I was the same. Yeah, less people doing it, and more
Less
people having
options.
parties.
I think there's just less options. There was none of the big soft play centres. There was none of the
Exactly.
go-karting experience. There was all those other things that are now people realise kids' parties are business, and jumped on that. Back in those days, it was just you booked an entertainer or you did it yourself.
God, we're standing old when you start saying back in those
God,
days. Yeah.
how old are we, Gordon? I mean,
So let's
so
let's
old.
jump ahead a little bit. Let's go to your show as it is now. So if we were to book or go and see a Jelly Kelly party, do you do the full party? Do you just do shows? How does it work for you?
Well, hang on. Depends what you're talking about. What sort of gig I'm getting? Is it a birthday party? Is it an event? Is it a school? Is it corporate? Is it
All right, let's stick with a
cruise ship?
birthday
Is it-
party for the time
Stick with
being.
birthdays.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it under 8s or over 8s? 'Cause I do
Oh,
different
okay, so that's interesting. You do a different
I do
format.
3 to 7 and then 8 to 13.
All right, let's go for 3 to 7, and we'll
Okay.
come back to the 8s because that's interesting.
So if you were a client ringing me saying I've got a 4-year-old party or 2-hour party, what can you offer me? This is what I would say. I spend the first 15-20 minutes with music and games, with balloon games, bubbles, getting them coming in. I memorise their names, get the shyer ones involved and the more outgoing ones, knowing where we're at. Just get everyone having fun together. I said then we set the room so everyone joins in, and we do a comedy magic show. It's a family show. So I do, we get the parents to watch. I said, don't worry, you don't have to get up and look silly, but you'll find it as funny as the kids. You're going to join in. It's good fun. And then the birthday child will be the star of the show and get up and do things with me. But the finale is them making their own magic birthday cake. And they put on a chef's hat and an apron, and we mix up flour, sugar, egg, eggshell, ketchup, mustard, sprinkly bits. It's disgusting. I then set it on fire to cook it. And don't worry, I'm fully insured. It's never gone wrong yet. And then I can't blow it out. I've lost my thread then. They make a birthday cake with me, which I set on fire, but I can't blow it out. So we shout happy birthday, and a sponge cake appears, and there's a present underneath, and we end the magic show singing happy birthday. It's very special. Then we break them for their party food. I pop the music on. I spend 5 minutes putting away my magic, because I discovered a long time ago that if you leave magic out, kids are going to find out magic isn't real, and you're going to ruin their childhood.
Oh.
So I put it away, and that for me is also a moment where I'm setting up for my next gig to get onto. But I don't tell the parents that.
Yeah, resetting everything.
Reset for me. Then I go and go to where the party food is, and I make the birthday child a really cool balloon twist, and we do the birthday cake that they've got. Mine isn't edible, it's a prop. And then we finish off the party with a big fun action game. Depending on the venue, depending on the kids, depends how I finish, but it's always on a big fun action game. Quite often using, plug for John Kimmon's race game. I quite often do that, but I've adapted it to work slightly differently to John, where I've got it on a massive board, and I put people, they have to run up and move the counter themselves, and it creates a bit of energy with the interactions, and then I finish the party for them. I can also offer party bags and pre-made balloon gifts as extras as well.
So that's really good. So you're
that's
all
a 2
packed
hours
up by the time you get to your big game at the end. So
I'm not packed up. No, I've reset the magic. I've still got
okay.
at least 20 minutes packing away,
Okay.
putting away all the speaker, putting away the table, putting it all away. So all I've done is reset the magic that I'll need for the next show.
So that's a very different format to where most people go. So quite often they do, games before food, magic show after food, or they do the magic show before food, games after. But you're doing games and then magic straight through, then food, and then finishing with something big that involves everyone. That's great. That's a really different.
But you know why? Because I never saw another entertainer before I started doing it, except
So
for that old boy
you
doing
figured
his
it out
show.
yourself.
I thought I just worked it out myself, what works for me, and I found that the kids, especially if they're at a party maybe where they don't know everyone, they don't want to do games with them at first when they don't know everyone. You see the anxiety or the the awkwardness. But after sat there laughing at my show and interacting all together, they're quite happy to play games together.
Yeah.
So the
Agreed.
games at the beginning aren't a game where you get in or out and you have to know everyone. They're literally me with music going, being a div, singing to my I always wrong the words to songs a lot, which I quite enjoy doing. And I've got my bubbles for little ones because that draws them in, and I've got rocket balloons. And I'm like, okay, you've got to try and catch the balloon before it touches the floor. You let it go, they run after it, they bring it back, they get a high five. That's the game.
Yeah.
They go mental for it. And as they arrive, they can just join in. They don't have to know the rules. They don't have to know who's in, who's out. They can. It's just something that is just creating fun that they can come in and join and have fun and be comfortable with me in that moment of fun.
And they're getting to know your sort of personality and what to expect from the party, which is great. That's really good.
And also, I'm sussing the kids at the same time, so I'm seeing the ones that might need a bit more handling in a way. Like, all right, you guys, you need to calm down a little bit. You know, all the ones that come, it's all right. I'm not scary. Come and join in. So, you know, I'm learning who my audience will be in that moment.
And how is that format different for 8+? What age do you go up
Well,
to?
I can do the same tradition. I call that a traditional party format. And I can do the same traditional party format for 8 and above, but I just use a more clever magic in the magic show. But the same, really. Everything else is the same. I also do a balloon twisting workshop skills party with magic show for over 8s, where a little bit of a warm-up as they come in. When everyone's there, I teach them all how to make a balloon animal. Then they put their name on it, we keep it, that's for home time. And then they break for food, and I make the birthday child a cool balloon, and then we finish with a magic show. So I do that as well. And I also do Harry Potter-inspired parties, which is for older kids, because they know who it is. And can I just say something? I put the JK in rolling.
That's funny. I like it.
I like it, you know.
Kelly Rowling. Yeah, she should have used that name.
I know. She so missed a trick there. She would have been a millionaire by now.
Yeah, I know. Instead of a billionaire. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So, what age do you go up to then? What age are you happy performing for?
I'm happy going up to 13.
Okay.
And then they turn quite. Ugh. And
Yes.
And they don't really want to be doing that sort of a party at 13.
Yeah.
They really don't. But then if I do get the older teenagers and adults, I go as Kelly Cadabra, which is I step up as Kelly Cadabra and do it more in my adult persona.
Yeah, no, that's very wise. That's what I do. Yeah. So let's talk about venues. So some venues you get to are extremely noisy because they've got high ceilings. They've got. I said, let's talk about
I can't hear you. It's too echoey in here. The acoustics are terrible.
That's probably the same size ear as the performer you saw in 2001. Because if he was an old guy, their ears keep growing, right?
They do get bigger, don't they? I've heard that ears keep growing. I'm like, heard ears and noses keep growing. I'm like, are you joking? Come on. Where is that fair? Anyway.
So we've got big open halls with wooden floors, high ceilings, really echoey, and they can be really.
And you can't
noisy.
just turn around and walk out and go.
No, so you've got to do something. What do you do in those situations?
First of all, I tell the client, I said, you've got really bad acoustics here. We're going to need to manage this party very carefully, or it's going to sound horrible and be quite ugly. Said, I'm not going to allow any parents to be chatting, which I don't anyway, but I say that. I make sure that's out there. I say, so even if you're in the kitchen there with the hatch open, you can't be talking. The noise will carry through and it rumbles around. So, I let the parent know that there's going to be difficulties with the sound. I said, 20 kids are going to sound like 200. Nothing you can do about it. But what I do for me, because I find... in bad acoustic halls, oh God, you just want to walk out, don't you? You just want to go in and go, oh no, it's one of them. Let me out of here.
Make a note not to go back to that one again.
Yeah. When you hear your footsteps like coming, boom, 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 you're like, oh no. So what I do is, because it does really affect your comic timing as well. You can't just be funny because you're waiting for the sound to die enough, so you haven't got the comic timing. It just affects everything. Oh, I can't stand them. But what I found does slightly help. Obviously, you are polishing a turd at this point. Remember that. It's not going to make it 100, absolutely fine, but it will make it marginally better you can do things like turn your speaker into the wall, so it's not into the room. So it's got less bounce and roll. It bounces straight off the wall and then does that instead of across. And also, I turned down the bass completely on all the music and on my microphone. Turn the bass right down, because when you turn the bass down, the bass notes carry further and longer. High notes disappear quicker. Bass notes, like a whale song, can go for miles. So you turn your bass down, and that will help with the sound bounce. So I would say for acoustic calls over the years, over the many, many years Gordon are doing this, I've thought, okay, I've tried different things, and I found that has actually helped. Definitely whack that bass down, put the speaker against the wall, tell the client, there's no chatting to Nan at the back or offering tea and biscuits, which I don't let them do that anyway, but sometimes they do. But I make sure if it's in bad acoustics, all that. I make sure if it's bad acoustics, and then when I start my show, I will, when I normally do my bit that starts it, when I sort of instruct the parents about to get them involved, I will say, you might be aware, there are bad acoustics, which means you guys can't talk because you may as well be stood next to me. And I'll say something similar like that and let the audience, the adult audience, know this is bad acoustics. Don't blame me on the noise of the party. No, that entertainment was so noisy. No, it was the venue.
Yeah.
It's the venue.
That's really interesting. That's great little tips there. Anyone who's listening to this, you've learned something that you can try out.
It well, Gordon.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's excellent. It's sort of the experience of trying these things out that give you that information, isn't it?
It's just out of sheer desperation. It's like, how can I make this sound any better? This is atrocious. Actually, years ago, I heard the speaker turn it into the wall tip on a Kids Entertainers podcast.
Really?
15 years ago. And I tried it and I went, that works a bit, I'll keep that. Yeah. So passing on that knowledge. But the bass thing I worked out myself. Yeah.
That's very good. So sticking with your show, you've got young children. They quite often like puppets. Do you have any puppets in your show?
I do.
Do you? Tell us about your puppets.
I've got them next to me if you want to see.
Have you? Yes.
Let me get my puppets. Hold on.
Oh my goodness. It's as if she was prepared.
As if by magic.
But are we going to be able to see it with your virtual background now? Is it just going to disappear?
That's the point. I might have to turn it off. Right, my first puppet I ever got, I think, how long had I been Jelly Kelly for? Maybe a year. It's my first Christmas as Jelly Kelly, and I saw this puppet and loved it. My mum and dad bought it for me for Christmas.
Oh.
Now I'm going to have to turn my virtual background off. You're not going to see it. Hold on. Oh, God. Have I tied it up behind me?
Okay, magic is about to be ruined, everybody.
Okay, guys. This is the illusion over. I've blurred it. You're right.
Oh, okay.
Does it still work with the blur? No, I've blurred the dog. Damn.
So right. you work with blurry puppets. That's...
All right, here I am. So this is Deefa. He's the typical. Yeah, we all know this dog, don't we? I call him Deefa because Deefa dog. First thing, it's a joke. The kids don't get it. The adults do. And it's a good name for a dog, isn't it? It is. Now, dogs don't talk. He's a dog. I tend to not talk with any of my puppets because even though I can do it, it still sounds like me. It still sounds like me, doesn't it? Even though I'm trying to put on a different voice, you can hear it's me.
You have a very distinctive voice, Kelly.
I have a very distinctive voice. And the kids always go, it sounds like you, Jelly Kelly. So all my puppets don't speak. And I have a great response with my puppets because they don't speak. Some of the best puppets, if you think about them, again, Rodho and Emu, Spit the dog. My favourite sort of puppets, they don't speak, so you don't have to do ventriloquism to get a puppet in your act. I think when you've got small children in your audience, like under age 7, I think it's very important to get a puppet in your act. Really is very strong, really helps your act, and to get the right puppet for you. I mean, this is Deefa. I'm a bit low down on this chair, aren't I? Hang on, I'll stand up. So this is Deefa dog. And he's lovely. Deefa, stop doing that. Stop it. He likes to sniff his bottom, and he does all sorts of things. And so Deefa is my go-to act for the younger kids. If they've never seen me before, or even if they haven't, they nearly always ask to see Deefa again. He is so popular. He's so lovely. Oh, yes, you are. So that's Deefa dog. Doesn't speak. Nice. sniffs his bottom, floats on a balloon, does all the sort of silly things, does a little dance act, yeah, blows up a balloon, head banging to pump up the jam, and is cute.
He's a lovely puppet.
Thank you. He's my
I in fact I bought one of those in Canada in 1995. So it was before anyone in the UK had even seen this puppet.
Oh,
My one's called Snuffy.
Snuffy.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
Snuffy.
as soon as it came over here, everyone had one. So mine has sort of been relegated to a little basket, and he hasn't come out for a while just
Don't
because
listen,
everyone has
Deepa,
one.
don't
Yeah, I know. Don't listen.
The hardest thing was for me with Deepa was when my real dog died, Merlin, a couple of years ago, and I'd have to like, you're a good boy and stuff like that, to talking to Deepa like he's a dog, and I was like, choking up, because I just lost my own real dog, and I was like, okay, so I was going to get another dog and then a real dog and call him Deepa, and I thought, no, I can't, because then I'll never be able to talk to my puppet again. So different name. Always have a different name to your actual dog, people, because it's very painful.
Yeah.
This one, I'll save the best till last. This isn't the best. This is Christmas. Chris Cracker. Hey! Alright, Chris. Now, Chris doesn't do... He does squeak, but I try not to let him squeak too much because it annoys me. But Chris comes out. He doesn't even do part. He's not even in the show. A couple of times I've used him in the show, depending on what I'm doing.
How can he see? Oh, there we go.
He looks like Rambo now.
He does look just like Rambo.
Something very Rambo. Oh, don't keep that there. Alright, I'll sort out the bows later. Literally, I just grabbed this 2 minutes before I got on Zoom with you. I was like, I better get some puppets just in case. So Chris Cracker, what I use with Chris is during the party food break, is I will go around with my Axtel clapometer, and on the premise that the joke machine at the North Pole's broken and Christmas is going to be ruined, Christmas dinner will be ruined. We need to get the funniest jokes. Chris Cracker needs to take them back to the North Pole, and you could save Christmas. And I just go around the table, kids tell me jokes into the microphone. Is it funny? Chris laughs, maybe not, and it's just a bit of a time filler at the table when they're having party food. It's very Christmassy, and the kids love telling absolutely awful jokes. And sometimes you get some really funny jokes of them, but most of the time they're
terrible. Yeah,
they're pretty bad. We all know that. So that's Chris for Christmas parties.
Have you got a black? Sorry, on the back of that, have you got sort of a black arm?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. So it sort of hides your hand, hides your arm from potentially being seen. I haven't seen that before. That's very good. Yeah, that's great.
It's you know when you get the puppets that go behind on a. What am I thinking of? You know when you see those Christian puppet shows and they're just on a thing and they've just got a black arm. I think they're probably something to do with that.
Yeah, it's great. I've not seen it before. It's great.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't do it myself.
You're taking credit though. That's fine.
And the first time I ever went to Blackpool, I bought a puppet, which still is not in my act. Hang on, but I'm ruining the illusion here.
Oh, no one look. If you're on the podcast and you're listening, you're getting the best experience for this puppet bit.
Don't look.
You'll have to watch it on YouTube.
There's nothing to see behind the curtain.
What she's doing.
I use this on the cruise ships when I do the walk-arounds with kids. Oh, God, I've got to fix his neck. Just seen that. And it's very much, again, this is so much like my dad with the emu.
Right.
This is why literally, I'm channeling my dad right now. So there is Gaza. Hey! Now, I'd love to speak with Gaza because he's proper northern, I think. He's got a northern accent. But again, the kids here, it's me, so... Gaza mind reads, is a mind reading bird. You've got to look into his eyes and he does a mind reading trick. He catches bubbles. He loves catching bubbles because he's an ADHD bird. Give him something to do. And really, Gaza is just a gorgeous looking Axtel puppet with the fake arm, which obviously looks very real.
This is Axtel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He's beautiful. Originally he was sold as a buzzard, but because I was learning ventriloquism, I called him Bazza the Buzzard. And I thought, how hard is that to say?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he's called Gaza the Guzzard. He is a guzzard. Gaza the Guzzard. He's a mind-reading bird. Yeah. So that's Gaza, and I think I don't use him a lot with the little ones because the little ones can freak out with him a bit.
Okay.
because it freaks. Because I'm quite full on with Gazza because he's got that look. He needs to be full on.
Yeah.
But I think he's all right when he catches bubbles. The little ones like him. But when I do the mind reading with older kids, then I mean, they can't stop giggling when they stare, like, look into his eyes.
Yeah, it's the big eyes, isn't it? I think that's probably what it
Into his
what it
eyes.
is.
But yeah, they're my three favourite. I've had other little puppets over the years, but I'm not a massive puppet performer. But D for Dog I use a lot.
And does he perform a trick, or does he just come and say hello effectively?
He does. At first, he starts off with he wants to show them. He wants to show them his special dance, and then I get the kids. You have to go put this. Oh, I have to do it with you. Here you go. I want to show you a special dance. Deepa's dog is very well trained, which means he does as I tell him. Yeah. No, what is it? When I point that way, Deepa looks that way. Did you see that? Did you see that? If I put him that way, he looks that way. Go up, down, up, down, round, around, right? So then what I do is I put on Who Let the Dogs Out, and the kids have got a point with me. So again, keeping them involved and not just watching, they're getting actually involved. But if he stops dancing, they have to let me know, because sometimes he's a bit naughty and he stops dancing, and I do it and he stops dancing, and he's always sniffing his bottom. I'm like, Deepa, stop sniffing your bottom. He's a dog. Dogs sniff bottoms. It's the thing they do.
Uh-huh.
So he does that, and then because he keeps sniffing his bottom, I do it 3 times, like, that's it, no more bottom sniffing. And goes, what's that? You want to blow up a balloon instead? Would you like to see Deepa blow up a balloon? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so would I. So I get a balloon. He can't blow it up because he's a dog. So then I get my big pump, and I pump it up to pump up the jam music, and he head bangs. That always gets a massive laugh off the grown-ups more. The kids enjoy it, the adults really like that he's doing it to that. And then I give him the balloon once I put something in my pocket, and off he goes, and he floats in the air, and then he's gone. And then lets goes the balloon, so I get a modelling balloon, but then he gets scared, so because he's going to pop, and then he's feeling sleepy, and he just does that, and I wake him up, and then I go, I'll make the balloon, and we put him down for a nap, and then I'd go into my next part of the act, which is guess what balloon, and get little kids and adults against each other to try and win that. So that kind of leads into the balloon bit. So he doesn't really do a magic trick. Although he actually at Christmas he does, because he finds his Christmas bone with the cards thing, that part. Yeah. But that's only really, I'd only do that with preschools for a very young audience, because it's very basic, boring. I find it a bit boring, and I want to move on to more fun things. Okay. But so he does a dance and a balloon bit that leads me into my favourite part of the act, which is my balloon part with the kids against the adults.
We'll be right back with the podcast after a word from our sponsor, which is me, Drayson Design. We specialise in creating websites and graphic design, but today I want to talk to you about domain names, and more specifically the right domain name for your business to make sure you are found when people search for you. You can see from the stats there were 359 million domains registered up to September 2019. Our domain name searching tool allows you to type in keywords, and it will then search all the most popular extensions like .com and .co.uk to see what's available. Children's Entertainer has already gone, as you might expect, so let's try something different. For example, Surrey Magician. And there we can see surreymagician.com is available at the time of recording, which could be a great domain name for you if you were a magician in Surrey. Once you've found your perfect domain name, then you can purchase it directly through our website and start using it for email and for your website. If you have any questions, please get in contact and we will help however we can. This free tool is available on our website www.draysondesign.com. That's DRAYSON design.com. Right, let's get back to the podcast. So you do a lot of balloons. I've regularly seen you at balloon jams, and you do some really fantastic models. So is this a big part of your show?
No, not always, but my favourite part, I think I did it at that Tricks a couple of years ago in my lecture. Did you see that? Did you see the jumping jelly bean slide?
I did.
So that I would go into after D for Dog, or even in an older show I'd work it in somehow, because it's my favourite thing to do, because it's a balloon that people don't normally see and they'd never guess it on their own, that particular, you think dog, giraffe, you never think jumping jelly bean slide.
It's got the word jelly in it, which is
And it's got the word jelly in it, and it's a brilliantly
keeping the brand
interactive
alive.
balloon. So I know I like to, when I can, do that balloon in my show. But if it's an audience who've recently seen me and remembered it, I have to switch up for something else or do a different balloon, or But it's that, I would say that's my favourite part of the show, is making that balloon and getting the kids against the adults. And when an adult wins it, and I nearly always will try and get an adult to win it somehow, like just hear him whispering it to someone else, like, I am a winner! Because then we get to boo them and stuff, and that's my favourite bit. I just love it. I'm booing the grown up, and they're like, oh no, and like, everyone, then she took your balloon.
So you do get the adults involved. So you prefer to have the adults watching the show than not watching. So do you actively encourage the adults to stay, or do you find a way to get them to sit down to watch rather than chat at the back? Because that does happen sometimes. How do you work?
Not on my watch, it doesn't, Gordon. Not on mine.
Good.
Nope. I'm quite strict with that. So at the beginning, before the party, even on the emails, the setting up email about, I'm going to be arriving, see you on Saturday, blah blah blah, please make sure the room is set like this, and I put it to them, and I say, we want chairs in a semicircle looking towards where you want them to perform, for the adults to sit on, the children on the floor in front of them. There's no chairs at the back. If I get there and they've got chairs jotted around at the back, I will personally get them and I'll move them over, or say to them, no, we can't have those chairs at the back. And I will set that room how I want it to be, so that it'll work for me. And then you're waiting for the adults to sit down, like trying to start the show, and the kids are there. If you do get somewhere, they'll just come and sit down and instantly be really good adults, and somewhere, we're here to drink and talk and do that, and you do get them. So in that part, if I'm finding it hard to get the adults to come over, I turn around to the kids in front and say, if you've got your grown-up back there, I need you to go and grab them, drag them onto a chair, and tell them we're waiting to start the magic show. And I use their kids against them.
Yeah, there's nothing like that, is there? If you've got all the adults talking, I'll quite often get all the kids to go, can you see your mum or dad or grown up talking? In which case, turn around and I'm going to give you permission to go, shh. And it's great to see all the kids turning around and all the adults going, what was that? And you just get their attention for long enough to explain what's going on.
Yeah, it's all you got to do, long enough to get them over, get their bums on the seats, and then I'll start my show. After doing my first little copy me thing, which I'm doing it for the kids, but also to catch the adults. I say, everyone, I'm looking to see who's going to be a good helper. You got to copy me. The same thing I showed at the tricks lecture, where shoulder, shoulder, head. How was it? Knees. I can't do it without the music.
When you do it out of context,
shoulder, head. Wiggle your ears, honk your nose, and lift a cheek. That was it. And in that moment, the adults realise, oh, I've just done a pretend fart without even realising it. Then they laugh and they think, okay, this could be amusing, and I've caught them in that moment. And then when I go into the next bit, when I say who I am, I say, let them into a secret. I say, kids, as long as you sit nicely behind my magic line and only come up and ask you to, you've got really good helper you get really good chance to be a helper in the magic show. I said, that's the only rule I have. And then I look up at it, except for the grown-ups. And I will look at every grown-up. I'll make eye contact. Get eye contact. I say, grown-ups, you wouldn't take your child to a pantomime chat for it, would you? Oh, no, you wouldn't. Quite often they have to say, oh, yes, we would. I'm like, I say, guys, you would, that's horrible. Grown-ups, don't ruin little James's birthday party. And they go, wow. Oh!
Just the guilt. Yeah,
I do. I use it, and they go, oh! But they laugh with it, so they know they're kind of guilty of that. They recognise where I'm coming from on that. And I say, the more you join in, so I do adult shows, comedy clubs. So I won't use that material today, but we can have a laugh, go over their heads, Yeah. So I let them know there's going to be stuff for them. And I said, so grown-ups, will you join in? And they go, yeah. And I go, no, will you join in with enthusiasm? And they go, yeah. And I'm going to hold you to that. And I do hold them to that in the show. Like when I go, do you want to eat my dog? And the kids are like, yeah. And I go, well, you do, but the grown-ups promised me enthusiasm and I'm not feeling it. I'll have to ask again. So I'm constantly reminding them, come on, stay involved. And they do. They love the show. They come up to me after going, absolutely brilliant, loved it.
And in fact, that's
Having
a
laughs
really
at
good
watching the
thing,
end.
because if the adults enjoy it, they're the ones that
They can
book,
book you.
and they're the ones that will know they're going to have a lot of fun. And they quite often will think of other people in their family, for example, that they think will enjoy
Yeah,
your party, and they'll book
yeah,
you
yeah.
for their child because they
And they
know their
recommend
family's going to see it.
you.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's not the reason why I did it. I did it just because I found I couldn't get on with just being funny, and really, because I love doing you know, when you get shows that are good, great, and exceptional. You know, when you get those exceptional shows when you're like, everything's smooth, everything, you land every punchline, everyone's there, everyone's engaged, everyone's laughing, and you feel great. Those, I want that show every single time. And I found I couldn't do that if the adults were chatting. The kids can't focus, they can't hear as well. So you haven't got the undivided attention that you need for that sort of funny. So I just found over the years that just shut the adults up, and they're not going to sit there quietly if they're bored. If they're
Yep.
not enjoying your show, they will start chatting because
Yep.
they're not engaging with you. So I have made my show very engaging for adults and kids, so that I can keep the room hanging on my every word, so I can get on with being funny.
Yeah. No, it's
Basically,
important.
that's the only reason I did it.
I discovered the same thing, and I think it does make a huge difference to how well your show goes and how
If you can
people
control the
remember it.
adults.
Yeah.
If you're, yeah. Because again, you're missing your comedy punchlines if you're having to say it again because they didn't hear it, or even stop midway to say, "Please, guys, you know, can you please keep it down over there?" Instantly lost the show.
Yeah.
Boom. So you don't let it go. You've got to get it from the beginning and hold their attention.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will come across adults, all the adults watching, but you'll just have a couple or a few. And I will stop the show sometimes, and I'll point to one and say, "She's going to get you in trouble. Don't make me come over there." And I'll almost break character a bit and say, "You know, don't." And I'll say, "Don't make me use my comedy club echo on you here in front of the kids."
My teacher voice.
Or my teacher voice, and I will, and I'll say it, and then they can say it again and again, and you know you're just dealing with some arsehole then. And at that point, when I've said it a few times and they're still doing it, I just think, carry on being an arsehole. You're ruining the party. You're ruining it for everyone. I can do no more. I'm not going to waste any more of my time on you or my show on you, because everyone else is seeing that you're the arsehole, not me.
Yeah.
At that point,
Quite often, I will say, who knows that lady over there? And it's really funny when you'll have someone say, "That's George's mum," and you sort of look and you go, "George, how come you didn't tell me that?" Which is really funny, you know, because it's like, you know, George doesn't want to be embarrassed because it's his mum. Yeah, exactly. But it's really funny to sort of point them out in that way. And then, you know, the parents will hear the word George, and because it's their son's name,
they're like,
oh, what's
"Somebody
going on?"
about my son.
And then you can talk to the children again, saying, "Oh, they're listening now, right? So shh, don't say anything rude. Okay, they're listening." And you can sort of talk to the children, but you're actually talking to the adult through the children, if you see what I mean. Which is great. It's really good fun.
It's another way of doing it.
So
But it's all about keeping that control of the audience and
Yeah.
the adults, isn't it? Keeping them engaged.
The whole audience.
And also letting them know the rules from the beginning. If they don't know, they've got to sit and be quiet and join in.
Yeah.
They think it's just a chat,
Yeah.
they're there to just chat. Because a lot of entertainers allow that. And they just like the parents chat and they just deal with the kids in the corner doing something. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I'm not going to do my show in that sort of environment.
No, it's not going to go down as well as it
I
could
don't
do.
enjoy doing it. I don't enjoy it for myself. So
No, and you want to give the best to the parents that have booked you.
yeah,
And
gotcha.
for that child to have a memorable birthday party, and not because all they could hear was the adults chatting. It's very important. So, COVID hit, and you
seems like it never happened now. Really,
well,
doesn't
I
it?
know
It's
no one ever talks
so
about it
weird.
anymore.
Yeah, it's so weird that the lockdown. It's like, oh god, that was like nearly 5 years ago.
But you decided within 10 days, from what you said earlier, that it was
decided
going to
that.
be something that was going to be ongoing, and you
I was
decided,
up and running in 10 days. I decided in 2 days.
right. So you
Again,
thought
it's my ADHD. Make a decision, do it. It's done.
so you thought it was going to be a much longer term thing than everyone else did, and you thought, right, I've got to
didn't know.
adapt. Let's get
I
going.
didn't know. I didn't know how long it would be. And at first, it was a few months. I'm like, and I thought, well, at the time, being self-employed, we didn't know that we'd get any help. Right, so I knew I wasn't going to get any money. I looked at Amazon driving jobs. I thought I could work in Tesco's, and I thought, people don't want me serving them in Tesco's. I was born to perform. People need to have fun and be happy. That's my job. My purpose is to bring joy and fun and laughter to people.
And people do not expect that when they're getting their Tesco delivery, do they?
I mean, I would have made their day, Gordon, I would have. But
Yeah.
it wasn't for me. And I also thought that there's going to be a lot of other people in a similar situation to me who haven't got the skills I've got, who would need those jobs more than me.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I'll go virtual. I didn't spend that much money on it. I mean, literally, I had a...
Well, that's not what the tricks video says.
Oh, that was everyone believed that. I never spent all that. That was just a joke.
I think that was really funny, though. For those who don't know what we're talking about, if you get a chance, have a look at look it up. It was a tricks video that Kelly was part of, which was all about doing Zoom shows at home. And I mean, Kelly played it so well. It was very funny.
I played it so well that people actually thought I spent thousands and thousands of pounds on equipment. And I hadn't. I really hadn't. I think this was the biggest thing I bought, was the ear.
The biggest thing. Yeah, lovely.
You're on mute, can't hear. No, I didn't spend much at all. I spent on a green screen, a green sheet, on a frame thing, and I got a little slightly better camera. Is that you got one there?
Yeah, this is real. Yeah.
Is that real? Is that a wall?
No, it's one of those pop-up.
Oh, is it? Mine's my loft. I'd have to get. In fact, actually, only yesterday I got asked to do a virtual show at Christmas.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was already booked in the real world. I'm like, no. I'd have to. I converted my conservatory into a filming room, and I didn't spend that much. I used my speaker that I'd used for going out for my gigs next to my computer to play music.
Okay.
Plugged in my mic, had my same table, adapted some of the magic to work on screen, and within 10 days, 10 days of lockdown, I was doing my first show. I hadn't made a decision by then. I was actually doing my first show. And I did 150 shows in the lockdown period, virtually.
That's amazing.
And I was really enjoying them by the end. I think they enjoyed it more than me because I didn't get anything back because everyone was muted because the sound wouldn't work. So I could see them laughing and engaging and like, yeah, and all that, but I could hear nothing. So I had to give 200% out to get nothing back. It felt, but I knew I was making a difference to people because people were letting me know that. They're saying, thank you. My son on his birthday actually felt like his friends had a birthday party with him. Thank you, that you really brought it all together. I can't believe, and I get a lot of positive feedback from it. So I knew I was doing the right thing, but it paid peanuts, Gordon. Oh my God, it was not worth the money, really. But it kept the walls from the door, and then obviously we got the SEISS fund that came out, so that helps. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God I pay my taxes for that. Phew. Exactly. I'm not just cash only. No. I'm a good girl. So I got the full payout on my tax credits, and so that was just a bit of extra. And it also, when I came out of lockdown, I felt I was stronger business-wise than when I went in. I'd been stretched creatively. I'd learned how to market myself differently.
And people still knew about you because you were keeping yourself relevant. Yeah.
People were still talking about me, although, up in Birmingham and Scotland and places I can't work, because virtually you could be anywhere. Yeah. But I was still definitely, I didn't get forgotten about, and also I didn't lose my confidence. Yeah. Like a lot of entertainers, when they didn't perform for ages, it's very hard to then get back into it and jump back into it. I didn't lose my confidence of being a performer because I didn't stop performing.
Yeah, it was a very weird time because I did Zoom shows as well. I wasn't charging for mine. I was doing sort of 10-minute shows for birthday children just so that they had something special on their birthday. And we got grandma and grandpa and family around. I didn't charge anyone, but I did ask them to leave me a review. So during lockdown, I built up all of my reviews because I knew when we came out of lockdown, they were going to be so important to me because the world has changed. We're now looking at the reviews before we buy anything. We've been trained to go onto Amazon, look at what we want. There's 20 of them. You look at the reviews and you choose the one that's got the best reviews. And I knew that was going to be important. So I got a huge number of reviews out of it. And that was That was great. And I have actually been to some of the people who I did a Zoom show for in real life and done their birthday party in real life,
And so have I. Isn't it
which
lovely
is
when you
so
meet them, but,
lovely.
like, for real? You're like, oh.
And you go in and you sort of you touch them on the shoulder and go, oh my goodness, you're
God.
real. Yeah, it's just so lovely. But it was such a weird situation, a weird time.
What was weird is was coming out of it and trying to remember my patter for my old show. Like, how do I start my?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the words, and I have it all in time to music and what I do with the hands. And for the
yeah,
life of me, I couldn't remember it. I couldn't. I can now. It's come back now, but it took about 5 shows in
yeah.
the real world for me to start going. Oh yeah, that's when I normally do that.
Yeah.
Before it
And the
started coming
handling
back.
of things as well. I
Yeah.
used to do a rubber band trick where I would take a ring. This was for grown-ups. I'd take a ring, put it on the rubber band, and it would actually be on one strand of the rubber band. And I remember going into a gig and thinking, right, I'm going to do that. And I sat there for 5 minutes going, I have no idea how I do this. Because
Yeah.
it had got to the point when it was muscle memory and I just did it. And because I didn't
Exactly.
have that muscle memory, because I hadn't done it for over a year,
Mm.
it's like, oh my goodness, I mean, I remember now because I just kept going and it's like, oh yes, I remember
Yeah,
this
it
now.
comes back. It does come back,
But
but it's like
it was
it's weird
exactly
how
the
you forget
same.
it so quickly. Yeah.
Coming away
It's
from gigs, children's parties, and you go, oh, I missed that gag.
yes. You're like, oh damn, completely forgot to do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
do or remembering it during the party and having this really surprised look on your face as you're doing it. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
it's more surprising for
Yeah.
me than it is for you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've forgotten I say that.
Yeah. That's so true. I do remember those moments. But yeah. No. Lockdown definitely made me feel more of a businesswoman. Because before I just used to like say I just literally get paid for having a laugh for kids, and I didn't really take my business very seriously. I don't think I was very laissez-faire about it. I was very just casual. It just came to me. The work came in. I didn't have to do anything for it. Barely did social media. Didn't advertise. I just got work. Just before lockdown, I was noticing a change in my diary where things were slowing up, and I wasn't getting as booked up as I would have normally been. And I was starting to think, what's changing here? Then lockdown hit, and I realised I needed to advertise, and do stuff. So I use smart performance on Yell now, which I started back in lockdown. It seems to work
Okay.
quite well for me. That's the only thing I
Back
do.
to Yellow Pages, although on their digital version now.
The smart performance is a bit different.
Is it? I don't know about
Yeah.
this. Tell us about it.
Smart performance is where they will advertise. So say you're on Google and you
Hmm.
put in children's entertainers in Surrey, where I live.
Hmm.
I give them so much a month, sort of clicks wise. So I have this money in the pot. So if somebody searches for that, boom, they show them my advert. But you could be on Facebook asking that and it put it there. Or in Instagram, it'll put it there. Or Bing, it'll put it there. And then what it does is it tracks you and follows you as well. So then later you could be on some other site and my advert would remind them of me. So
Yeah.
it does things like that. So it's not just advertising on Google or on Facebook or on that. I put so much in. It's like one party a month I put towards advertising into the pot, and that's it.
Okay.
That's all I do for it.
So that's remarketing for those who don't know, where if somebody has seen your ad or they've been to your website, because you can have tracking links on there, you can then show that ad to that person when they're in other websites, which is really good. So it's sort of remarketing back to them after they've already shown an interest, which is really, really useful. And do you find you get lots from advertising? I mean, you obviously track them now and find out how many people have come from.
I'm still useless at actually bothering. I
Okay.
never look at the analytics. I ask people normally when I get the booking. So all for those who inquire and I'm not available, I have no idea how they found me.
Okay.
But if they do book me, I will ask them, "How did you hear of me?" Quite often it's recommended
Yeah.
or seen me before. More often than not recommended. And now and then they would have just done a Google search, or sometimes they'll say Facebook. A group has been, recommended some, Cobham Mummies.
Yeah.
Someone's put out, they're looking for an entertainer, and people recommend me. So nearly always it's recommended, but now and then people go, just found it, just did a Google search and found you.
So you don't know if that's part of the advertising or just your normal
I
Google
don't know,
listing.
no. Because
Yeah.
I've gone
Okay.
incognito and put in children's entertainer Surrey incognito, and I still come up on the first page anyway. So.
That's good. Yeah.
But I think without the L performance, Smart Performance, sorry, from Yale. Before lockdown, I did notice my diary was getting a bit scary. I was thinking, I can't pay all the bills like this. If this carries on, this needs changing, and I can now pay the bills.
And that's made a difference. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So
yeah.
we can attribute some of the shows to that then, because of the difference. Okay, that's very interesting. Because I marketing is very different now. It used, as we said before, it used to be you put your advert in yellow, you make sure that it looks reasonable.
That's it. Yeah.
And that was it. That was it for the year. You didn't do anything else. You might put. I mean, I remember putting some a postcard in the newsagent. You used to be able to pay to have a little postcard in the window. I don't think that ever brought anything in. But Yellow Pages used to bring in
Yellow Pages, because that's the only way you could get hold of people's numbers to call them before they had websites.
And I tracked that religiously. I would have a spreadsheet, and it would show how many bookings I had. So whenever the Yellow Pages agent used to come round, because they used to come to see you, they used to come to your house.
They did,
and they would sit there and they would stay until you've basically signed up with them. It was a bit like a double glazing salesman, really.
It was quite hard to get them to leave.
And then they'd be on the phone to their managers, and they'd say, "Oh, right, and you're willing to give him that special deal, right? Okay, right, okay." It's all the sales tactics.
We know they're on the phone to their mum.
Yeah, I know, exactly right. But now it's very different. There's so many different places that you can advertise, and so many different ways you can advertise.
And not even that, social media isn't advertising. But you still got to keep up on that as well, so that you have a presence. So that when you are advertising, Google sees that you're active and important, and is more likely to push you up there to be found. I mean, there's so much more to do now behind the scenes than back in the day.
And having a good website as well. That's also really important.
I know a really good website designer.
Do you? Oh, how lovely!
And they host it, and they've got this wonderful reviews thing where they pull in from Google and Yale, and they put it all on there. Yeah,
so this is a good point
Designs.
A good point to tell you about our sponsor for today, Drayson
Is it
Design
you?
Reviews. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I don't get paid for this podcast. I'm doing it because I feel it's important, and I want to get children and family entertainers out there, and there has been nothing for them, so that's why I started all this up. It's not earning me any money. It's a love of.
It's nice just to chat to people in your field and have this sort of chat. I think
it is.
I would like to just sat down over a coffee and have this chat with you anyway.
Happily. But it's nice that other people get to listen to this and learn from your experiences and from my experiences and from everyone else that I've been speaking with, because we all have different experiences that got us to where we are now, and it's really good to be able to share that between the community. So that was the reason for setting this up.
One of the things before you do your sponsored break,
that would have been ages ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Which I must admit, Gordon, thank you for helping me with my website and running it and doing all that, because I know you're an entertainer, so you care about my website as an entertainer. It's a win-win. Why would I go to anyone else? Because they don't get my industry properly, but you do. You're in it, so therefore. And whenever I have a problem, you're straight away helping me out. Or when we finish this conversation, I need to tell you about my Outlook problem. We won't do that now. Okay. We won't do that. I'll do that afterwards. But one of the things years ago I learned, because you were saying about why you do this podcast, was, what was it called? Kids Entertainers Podcast. I think it was literally just called that. I can't even remember who did it. It was so long ago. But I got another valuable bit of advice on one of the podcasts I listened to. And it was like, use your magic words should have your name in it, because people will remember your name.
Yeah.
So instead of like
100%.
wiggly woo, sorry, Simon Sparkles, wiggly whatever it is, whoever does wiggly woo, I was like, where's your name in that? People aren't going to remember. They'll remember your magic words. Mine are Jelly Kelly, give it some welly. You're going to remember my name because you remember my magic words. All the kids remember my magic words, and the adults do too, because it rhymes. So I would say, if you can
give them an action as well,
magic words.
An action is really good. So exactly.
Fingers.
So my one is Gordon's magic. That's my magic word. And what's really funny is that I do a park show every year for Richard Pinner, and I have been doing it now for over 20 years. I used to do it for his father, Peter Pinner, before Richard took over, and it's a Wednesday and a Friday all the way through August. I think it's August, for the summer holidays, and they have a different entertainer on each one. and I always love being one of the first, and he always puts me on as one of the first. And I already at the end of my show I say, now there's lots of other entertainers that are going to be here completely free. Come along and watch, but remember, if they ask you what the magic word is, you have to tell them it's Gordon's magic. And my friend Paul Longhurst, Magic Paul, he did one after, and he he said, right, we need a magic word. And they all went, Gordon's magic. And go, no, we need a different one. And they said, no, that's the only one that works. And they all just... and he phoned me on his way home going, you utter... The whole show, they were saying, we have to say brilliant. Gordon's magic. It was very funny. Very funny.
So yeah, they're doing good with that. Is getting your name and your magic words. It's
was it the podcast that Ken? Oh, I can't remember his last name. Ken,
South African Ken Scott? No, not Scott.
No, it was Ken. Oh, I can't remember his last name. He sold the business to a guy called Zivvy.
Zivvy.
Yeah, was that the podcast? Because that was very good.
Oh,
it was for children entertainers. I can't think of any other ones.
Have been. I think it might have been actually.
I can't remember Ken's last name. Sorry, Ken, if you're listening or watching, I do apologise.
Are you sure it wasn't Ken Scott?
No, not Ken Scott. He's the American guy. He was really good. I can't think of his name. This guy was really good as well. He was very good at his marketing as well. But anyway, he put this podcast together, and it could have been that because, some really valuable information on that. It's probably still available. If it is, go looking for it if you're listening or watching, because it is very, very good.
I picked up some nice hints and tips from that just made me rethink a couple of things that tweak something in my show, and it's made a big difference. Like the magic words.
Yeah. You mentioned ADHD a while back. So do you find that you
What's that? All right. Carry on.
People who are just listening to this have no idea what's going
oh no! I got monkey. What's happened to the other eye?
It's gone all funny. You're winking at me.
I got mirror image. There we go. Hi. Yeah, I have ADHD. Can you tell?
Yeah. So, have you been diagnosed with ADHD then?
Yes.
Okay, right. And do you find that's a big part of your show and part of what makes you Jelly Kelly successful?
No, but it's less awkward now at the end of the party when parents say to me, "Where do you get your energy from?" And I know they're thinking, "Are you on cocaine?" Because I've been asked, "Are you on drugs?"
I used to say Woolworths, $3.99. Long time ago, that gag, obviously.
Too long. But yeah, parents used to always ask me, like, could you bottle that? I mean, are you on drugs? I'm like, no. But I never knew what to say because it made me feel awkward that they're thinking I'm on drugs, which I wasn't. And then now I've been diagnosed, they say, "Where'd you get your energy from?" I went, "ADHD! It's a superpower." And they go, "Oh, that makes sense." I'm like, good. Now they're not thinking I'm on drugs anymore.
Yeah. And it's more common these days, isn't it? People being on the spectrum and either one end or the other, or in the middle, or just not diagnosed.
Everyone's on the spectrum. It's like, where do you fall? But I do think there's a lot of people in the entertainment, especially children's entertainment, who've got ADHD and ASD. A lot of magicians who aren't kids magicians, ASD as well.
What does ASD stand for?
Autism.
Oh, that's just
autism
a short
spectrum disorder.
Autism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what it's called nowadays. You know what I mean? Got to get down.
What's the D stand for then? ASD.
Autism spectrum
disorder? No, can't be disorder.
Shall I Google it?
No, don't worry. It's not that important. I was just curious.
I did know this. I can Google it. No, I put ASD and it comes up with Asda petrol. I'm not going to bother googling that now. It's just, but yeah. So I do think the ADHD is a superpower. It can be a curse, as we all know. It can, but if you've got somewhere to channel it and let out some of that energy. I mean, I present a lot like a male with ADHD. A lot of females present very differently with ADHD. Very more inward. With anxiety, negative thinking. I'm not. I'm like, I'm out there. I definitely present more in the male sense. I think I've got quite a lot of testosterone, you know what I mean? Gordon, hear this voice. Literally. No Adam's apple, though, I'd like to say. My pronouns are she and her. And I was born this way. But I do have a lot of maleness in the way that I do things. I could be quite a geezer girl, and my ADHD is definitely a bit more on the man's side.
And do you have OCD as well? Have you got lots of acronyms?
No, but I have got aphantasia.
You've got what, sorry?
Aphantasia.
Oh, I've
Not
never
many
been there.
people know what this is. I
Never
only
been
found
there.
out about 6 months ago that this is a thing, and it's in fact it's only been coined as aphantasia 7 years ago, so it's quite a new discovery. And only 2-3% of the population have it, apparently. Although I think the more it gets out there as a word and people know, I think that's going to go up. But I've got no mind's eye. I can't visualise. Apparently, it blows my mind that everyone else. Like right now, I'm going to do a test on you. Shut your eyes. Think of an apple.
Yep.
What colour's the apple, Gordon?
Red.
Right, I don't see an apple, I see black. I don't see anything. I've never seen any visual image in my life.
In your head? You can't.
Never.
So you
No,
can't visualise
no,
stuff.
You
Okay.
freak. No. Oh my god, you hallucinate when you shut your eyes. You shit me. That is so scary. I've never seen anything. If I shut my eyes now and try and remember my dog Merlin, who we all know I love, I can't see him.
Okay.
I can't see what my parents look like if I want to picture them. I can't see any memory in a picture form. I have no mind's eye. Absolutely none. You get people who are hyperphantasia is if you think of a pink elephant, right? So think of a pink elephant, now it's roller skating and hula hooping and they see it moving and doing stuff. That's blows my mind. But that's hyperphantasia. Then you get people in the middle who just more sort of normal, like it would be more static. They can see a picture, they can see it. Some people might see it in black and white, some in colour. And then you got me at the end of the spectrum. I get nothing. I get no visuals, I get no smells, and I get no feeling. So like if you imagine you're stood in a field of lavender or in a pine forest, smell the smell of the pine. Nope, I get black. I get nothing. All right. Imagine you're touching a brick wall. You know what it feels like? Nope. I know. If I was touching a brick wall, I'd know it was a brick wall, and I could tell you it's going to be bumpy. But I can't feel the texture. I have nothing. I have no mind's eye.
So is this similar to
Aphantasia.
is this similar to people who are visual learners and people who are
No, completely different part of your brain.
Okay.
It's done on your imagination side of your brain. So up until recently, they thought only like mathematicians and rocket scientists would have aphantasia because you're very logical. You don't have to imagine. Yet here I am, creatively putting shows together, making up balloon twists, creatively, but I don't ever visualize it.
So
I
you
can't
could be a
visualise
rocket
it.
scientist. Is that what you're telling me?
And I did science at college, actually.
Did you?
And
Okay.
not just a silly face. I did do
So-
science. Quite brainy, actually.
Does that not make it really difficult to do sort of memory stuff? Because a lot of memory stuff is visualizing in your head someone doing this with that, and you're creating an image, a picture, and that's how you remember something. So
Not me. I could never do that ever in my life. So
Okay.
no. I would have to just remember it audibly. It's a set of words, and it comes with the words, verbal words with a sense of knowing, and that's how
Okay.
I do it. It's weird, isn't it?
So
But
do you
what's
have
weird,
do you
Dan-
have a good memory? Have you ever done plays and things where you've had to
Yeah,
learn
I can
lines?
memorise stuff. At the beginning of a party, I'll memorise 40 kids' names in one go.
But if you saw them the week after,
No. I'd know
Yeah.
their face, I wouldn't know their
very
name.
short-term memory. Okay,
Very
yeah.
short term. I have to
I'm the
see
same
them
with
visually
names
there.
for children, definitely.
But it blows my mind that everyone else, bar one person in 6 months, I've asked them to think of an apple and what colour is it, will tell me the colour of the apple. They see an apple. Everyone sees things. I feel robbed, Gordon, robbed of this skill. So, you know,
Well-
when you're reading books, I can read books. I love a storybook.
Yeah.
I never get any pictures. I
Right.
don't get pictures. So when you get the long description of some landscape or the castle looks like that, I just go past that. Skim past it because I cannot get anything from that.
It makes no difference to you. Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. I can't.
So as soon as we start getting taxed on our visual images, you're going to be bypassing that tax, aren't you?
I will be back.
There'll be no
None for me.
visual TV license for you.
But it's mad that people can do it. Then they can do it with their eyes open apparently and see things and images. I'm like, that would freak me out. And I think that might have something to do with the ADHD because again, a lot of people with ADHD and autism have got not everyone, but it seems to be there's quite a few with aphantasia can be linked to that. And I honestly think if I was getting visuals with all the thoughts my brain was having per minute, I'd be so overwhelmed
Wouldn't be able to
with
sleep.
what was coming in at me. I would have a mental breakdown because I wouldn't be able to think.
Maybe your body's just shut that part down to
Yeah,
make sure you don't
yeah.
get to that point. Maybe
hmm
that's what it is.
Maybe I mean I don't ever remember having it. They say the only reason they found out aphantasia was a thing was because some guy had been in a really bad car crash and in a coma. And when he woke up, he realised he couldn't visualise anymore. His mental
So it
thing gone. And
changed for
that's
him. Right.
so it changed. And then they realised that actually some people are born like that. But I did have a horrific car accident when I was younger, and I'm trying to think did I actually remember? I don't remember losing anything. I don't remember thinking, where's that gone?
Hmm.
So no, I probably was just born like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aphantasia or aphantasia depends how you want to. If you want to look it up, listeners, aphantasia, aphantasia.
There we go. We'll edit out
This
that
is
little
very
gap
interesting.
of your thinking.
This is very interesting. And if anyone's interested in my take on ADHD, I've got on my YouTube. I've got a poem that I wrote, which is actually lovely. Which as soon as I had my diagnosis confirmed, I went for a walk and downloaded this poem. It came to me, and I put it out there to help. I don't know, myself, kids, people, just to.
Yeah, that's really good. Just so people know that they're not on their own, and it
Yeah,
happens
I mean,
to
it's not
others.
a bad thing. It's not. I mean, without ADHD in the world, we would probably be still sitting in caves. We wouldn't have thought, let's make a wheel with that and make it easier. We wouldn't have, without the neurodivergence thinking, we would have stayed very static. We wouldn't have had the risk takers that ate that berry to see if you can.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have, had the people who think S, D, G, Z. Just A to B, A to B, A to B doesn't get you out of the box. And I think a lot of people who've got neurodivergency will think way outside the box because there is no box. I have no box.
That's
Try and
really
put me in a box.
interesting.
You can't put me in a box.
No, Schrodinger did, but
But we don't know if the cat's alive or dead still.
we
do we?
don't. No,
I have no idea.
every show is a Schrodinger show. You don't know how it's going to go until you actually do it.
That's so true.
I mean, we've. Are you okay for talking just a little bit longer?
I could talk to you all
I'd
day,
love to.
Gordon.
I'd love to talk to you about competitions. You
Okay,
entered the
yeah.
Blackpool competition, which
Mm.
I've done and various other people have done. How was? I mean, what made you want to do that for a start? Because
I don't know. I
it's a
just felt like
hugely
it.
scary thing to do.
Again, my ADHD. I thought, yeah, I'll do that.
Right.
I have very little fear. I'm very because maybe it's because I can't imagine the fear.
Okay. So you don't get stage fright then?
Very rarely, very
Okay.
rarely. A little bit now and then. I was a bit when I walked out in Blackpool. When I walked out, not when I was behind the waiting to go on, I was fine. As soon as I walked out, I felt fluttery and a bit jittery, and I was a bit worried about doing the appearing cane because you got to have fast reflexes for that thing. Like, phew, it's gone.
So
And I
let
was
me
a bit,
just explain to anyone who doesn't know what it is that we're talking about. This is a Blackpool Magic Convention. It's the Family Entertainer of the Year competition. It's the performances are on the Opera House Theatre stage, which is a 4,500 seat theatre.
the
And
biggest stage in England.
it's the biggest stage
It is.
in possibly Europe, in fact. But yeah, it's huge. And you have not only lots of children there, which is great, but you also have all of your peers, all of your other magicians, entertainers, people you don't know who are sitting and judging you. Whether you want to think of it that way or not, they're sitting and
Yeah.
they're judging you, and you have to go out and effectively do a performance that's going to entertain them and be better than the other performers that are going to be there. And it's not easy to figure out what you're going to do. I remember when I was doing it, I decided I was going to look at the venue and the audience and create a show that would work for that situation. Because you can't go out, in my opinion, you can't go out and do a show that you would do in someone's front living room and hope that it would go over well in this theatre, because it's too small, it's not big enough, it's not
That's the mistake I
involving
made
enough.
there. Yeah.
So yeah, how did you approach it when you decided you
Well,
wanted to do
again,
it?
I was a bit stupid really about this. I hadn't been to Blackpool for many years, and we're not going to discuss why. But anyway, I went back to Blackpool.
See, now you've
Um,
opened the floodgates. People are
no,
going to
we're
be
not going to talk
asking
about
you.
that.
We're not going to talk about it, but you've opened that floodgate for people to come up to you now.
Well, the people who know, that's
Yeah.
enough. But I hadn't been to Blackpool since, and I saw the opportunity for being in the competition, and I thought that'll make me go. That'll get me back there. If I put myself to do something like that, and I have to turn up then, and I'll do it, and I'll go back. So, but I couldn't remember how big the stage was. I mean, I hadn't been there for like 5 years or more, and I couldn't really remember any of the details. So I just turned up. And also, 10 minutes, can I just say, oh, give me half an hour at least. 10 minutes is very hard. And if you go over 10 minutes, you can be disqualified because you go over your time, so therefore you're out the competition. So I thought if I want to try and win it, I've got to stick within 10 minutes. Nothing I do is in 10 minutes, really. Hardly any, nothing decent anyway. So I decided to do one of a part of my act that normally takes over 15 minutes to do, condense it down to 10. And try and use that, which was the mistake, was that really basically I didn't fill the stage enough, but it was more the fact that I had to cut out loads of my comedy moments and bits because I had to make it into 10 minutes. So I had to lose some of the rhythm which I'd established. I've been doing this particular magic trick that I wanted to do. I've been doing that for nearly 24 years. It was one of the first props I bought, and I don't do it the same as I did back then, but this is something I use a lot. I'm really comfortable with it. I know it gets a great reaction from the audience. I get kids involved. I thought, it's got to be that. But making it 10 minutes ruined the act. It ruined the fun. It ruined the rhythm.
And also, you didn't have everybody knowing your character and who you were before, which is what you do at a normal party. You spend time, introducing yourself,
and
which you
also
don't have the opportunity to do.
And also, you can't see or hear the audience.
No.
So
it's
what
completely black
people
out
don't
there,
realise, and you get told backstage, don't worry if you think no one's laughing. They are. You just can't see or hear them. The stage follows the sound.
Very true.
What? You walk out, you can barely see the first row of people, barely, and then you can't really hear anyone. So it's like being on Zoom. It's very flat for you up there. They could be roaring with laughter and you wouldn't even know they were. So that's quite disconcerting, really, in the moment.
Yeah,
not being used to it.
definitely.
And the fact that the stage tilts.
Oh, it's got a rake, yeah.
Slope. He's put a stage on a slope. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Trying not to trip over all the time.
Well, it was built a long time ago, and the reason for that is obviously so that if anything is upstage, it can still be seen by the people in the stalls at the front because they're raised up, you see. But when you're doing magic acts on it with props that have got wheels, that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it's like everything's like, whoa, where's it going? Oh God, is that going to be safe there?
And it does feel like you're gonna tip over when you're standing on there. I mean, it's a really
threw me. That really threw me. That did.
It's a really shallow rake, but it's not flat, and it does have that.
Really threw me. That and the fact that you're on a stage doing a competition and you can't see or hear anyone. You're nervous because of that as well, just because it is a competition. If I was just doing my show, I wouldn't have been nervous getting out on that stage. Because the word competition was attached to it, that created a bit of nerves in me, and I got a little bit of a stage fright feeling. Not badly, but enough to my heart rate. I could feel my heart, which you wouldn't normally.
But I think it's good to do these things and challenge yourself, because
definitely.
Otherwise, you're not gonna. I mean, I was exactly the same. I thought, what have I let myself in for? I'm basically standing in front of everyone to be judged, and it could go really badly. It could go well. I could be all right. Are you pleased you did it?
I wish I'd gone to Blackpool for 1 year, seen the stage, got it in my head, and then entered the competition.
So you could visualise it.
So I could have visualised it, because I would have done something different. Walking away from it, I was like, I know what I should have done. I should have changed that. I should have done that instead of that. And I would have done a completely different act, and that would have worked much better. But it wasn't until I had been on the stage that I realised my mistake, and then it was too late by then. Too late.
Well, I mean, well done for doing it. It's something that very few people have done. And you see and hear all these people who go, yeah, well, I could have done better, but you never see them up there doing it.
Have they done it? No. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So well done for it. Takes a lot of guts to do that. So congratulations for that. Are you up for a few quick fire questions just to round off our?
Do I need my listening
chat?
ear?
Okay, yeah, if it helps, yes, definitely.
Probably.
Right, are you ready?
Ready? Don't take it
Okay.
seriously. Go.
Do you prefer huge parties or
You're
smaller,
saying
more
then.
intimate parties?
Sorry, I was doing a smutty joke in my head then. Can you say that again with the hand signals?
Do you prefer having a really large audience or a really small, intimate audience?
um, I
Okay,
don't.
maybe I
There's
should
no answer
explain
to
how
that.
quickfire works.
Oh God. No,
No,
both.
you carry on.
It depends. It depends really on the crowd.
Okay, fair
You can have
enough.
an intimate crowd and have just as much fun as like 400 people.
Yep.
So
Okay, so
depends.
no answer of that one.
No
Okay,
answer. I
good.
can't answer
Okay.
that.
Favorite effect?
Oh, ow! That's my elbow. I love doing this. I love catching people out on this. This makes me laugh.
All right, so your
Actually, I mic
microphone with
now.
your lips for the people who
Yeah,
are listening.
yeah.
Okay.
I like this.
All
It
right,
makes me
that's very
laugh.
good.
I can't think the mirror image is confusing me and how to hold it. Yeah.
Goals and dreams. Where do you want to be in 10 years? What do you want to achieve that you haven't already?
A quick fire. Goals and dreams. Goals and dreams. I get discovered and become a TV presenter and don't have to worry about doing anything. My agent deals with it for me.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. So
It's not gonna
basically,
happen.
not being, your own boss,
I am my own
handing that
boss.
over to someone else.
But I am my own boss. I get
Yeah,
fed up with
but
doing
handing
anything.
over
I've got to
sort
do
of
my
the
own admin, my
control.
own social media. Ugh. Someone else do all that for me. Someone
Okay.
else. I'll just turn up and perform.
Okay. All right.
But for
Um,
a lot more money. Just
right.
like
Of course, because you'll be on television.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot more money. A lot more money. Failing that, gonna get into healing because I do a lot of healing and stuff. So
Okay.
that might be because I'm getting older now. I'm thinking I can't do Jelly Kelly forever. What do I do?
Well, you could
Scary
be a
thought.
singer because you sing as
Oh yeah,
well,
I
right?
sing as well. I could, but again, as you get older, your voice goes a bit. I'm like, I need something that I can age into.
Okay. Um, uh, favorite moment in a show that you've in the past that you've done? Just something that happened that you thought,
All
oh,
right,
that's never going to happen again, but that was so cool.
it's when I work with special needs. I love it. I
Okay.
absolutely love it. And this long time ago, so there's not quick fire question because you've got to understand what's happening here
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
understand the moment. I was doing a school of special needs. The head was leaving. They had everyone there. We're talking serious special needs. We're talking very, very serious, like kids with helmets on, bashing their heads on walls. And we're talking very serious special needs here. And I was doing back in this is early days of Jelly Kelly as well, really early days. I was doing my show, being silly me, slapstick comedy, this and that. Show's ended. It went well. I wasn't bothered about the show. It went particularly. It wasn't my best show ever, but I went in the staff room to get a drink of water, and all the staff were crowded around a laptop, just gasping and going, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on? What's going on?" And they went, "Jelly Kelly, see this kid here?" And there's this kid laughing that they've got videos and that of, and they went, he'd been at school for 10 years, and no one had ever seen him smile. He was laughing, actually cracking up laughing. And the 10 years he'd been at school, no one had seen him smile. And he laughed. Oh, I've got goosebumps right now just telling you that.
Wow, me too.
And I get that. I get that a lot when I do special needs stuff. I get a reaction that people are like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. They've never done that before. They suddenly wake up and interact. They're in the moment with me. And I don't know how I've done it. I'm just being me. I'm not going out on my way to do it. It's just that they've caught onto the energy, the fun of whatever I'm doing. And they've joined me in that moment. Those are the special moments.
And that's why we do what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And
we
I do a
can't.
lot with dementia as well, and I break through sometimes with the dementia. A couple of weeks ago, I did it with this guy called Paul. It was miserable and very sad and angry when I walked in, and then I started doing my stuff being silly, and in the end, he was like, I gave him the horn of magic to hug. He was having a great time. He was cracking up, absolutely cracking up, and I made such a difference to that guy's day and his mood for just the time I was there. I lifted him out of where the sadness he was sitting in. That's my purpose. That those moments, they mean something to me.
Well, I mean that could sum you up for me any day of the week. You lift spirits whenever I go to an event and I know you're going to be there. I know it's going to be fun, and that's
Oh,
because
thanks,
you are
Gordon. That's my
the person
purpose.
you are.
To
Yeah,
bring joy, spread joy
your
is
special
my
power.
purpose.
Well, thank you so much for spending so long with us.
I've enjoyed it.
It's been lovely to talk to you.
Chore.
And I'm glad you said that. Yeah, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for giving up your time and giving of your ideas and what you've been doing so generously. That's really kind of you. I'm sure that anyone who's listened or watched this will go away and think,
go away, buy all my puppets, steal my
yeah.
Get your own material.
They've got all the information they need now to set up. Maybe someone will be looking, going, "Well, if Jelly Kelly can do it, I can do better," just like you did in 2001. Look.
Oh my god! What if I'm that old person that they look at and go, "Oh mate, I could do better than that." Oh god, I don't want to be that old.
Everything will come full circle. There you go. So, how do people contact you, Jelly, if they want to? I just called you Jelly. That's what I mean. I get so used to it. I know. How do people contact you if they want to talk to you?
Oh, a psychic. I find if they're telepathy.
Okay, so telepathy only.
If telepathy isn't working, and no, I'm not going to do that, Gordon. No, stop it, Gordon.
I didn't say that.
We're live. Stop thinking it. You can Google Jelly Kelly. I'm the only one in the world, basically. And then you get my website. You got my social media on there. You got my phone number. You can email me. Just Google Jelly Kelly.
There you go. So if you're looking for any more,
the only one in the world.
The only one in the world. And until after this podcast comes out.
No.
There'll be other people who are just going to go, "Oh, my name's Kelly." That will work nicely.
Really make me sad.
No, you're right. I think having a unique persona is really important. So yeah, don't copy what Kelly does. Go because it won't be right for you. Go do what's right for you. Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. It was lovely to speak to you, and I wish you all the best in your future journeys as a children and family entertainer.
And you too, Gordon. Keep up with the brilliant podcasts, doing fantastic websites for people, and just being generally a lovely bloke.
Oh. I knew it was the right person to ask to do our podcast. Thank you. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. So that was Jelly Kelly. What a force to be reckoned with. She has a lot of really good ideas. She's very, very energetic. Her shows, from what I understand, are very, very manic, and she puts a lot of energy into it, keeping the adults engaged at all times. I particularly liked her ideas about the noisy venues, being able to turn a speaker to the wall and have it bounce off the wall instead of having it in full volume going around the room is a great idea. I'm going to try next time I'm at a noisy venue. I really enjoyed that. I really liked that. I also feel she's incredibly brave to talk about her competition entry, because I know she wasn't happy with it, and I know that she felt she could have done better, and maybe one day she'll come back and do it again, and we can see the full Jelly Kelly experience. ADHD is something I'd never really considered for children's entertainers and family entertainers, but I think she's right. I think a lot of us are on the spectrum in some way and just don't realise it, and that's a big part of what makes us us. So yeah, that was very interesting as well. Talking about puppets, I sort of have a puppet in my show, and that's oh, pardon me, that is my drawing board. So the Axtell drawing board is my puppet, and it does talk, but I used to do lots of cuddly, fluffy puppets in my shows, and I haven't done for a long time, so maybe I'll reconsider that and bring that out and start doing that again, having seen Kelly's interactions with her puppets. And last of all, the thing that I wanted to mention is where we went right at the end of her interview, when she was talking about dealing with getting feedback from disability shows, and it's very true. I do pod shows, which is a hospital show, and I regularly get play specialists and nurses coming to me and telling me that they've had a child in the hospital for maybe 2-3 weeks and they haven't spoken to anyone, and yet within minutes I had them laughing and giggling. And it's a really, really good skill and great feedback to get as an entertainer. And I think that is exactly why we do it. So thank you so much to Kelly for her time and experience and knowledge. And it's great that she's happy to contribute this to our community. If you prefer to listen to these shows, then you can do so. We have a podcast version of it, and you can listen to that on all of your favourite podcast channels. We have our YouTube channel, of which the link will be in the show notes. But one of the best places to view our episodes is at the website, which is facethepodcast.com. You can go there and see all of our past episodes and make sure you get caught up, because there's some really good ones there, and there's some really good ones to come as well. There's lots of ones that have been recorded that I'm now in the process of editing, so they will be with us soon. As always, thank you for joining me. I look forward to you joining me again for future episodes, and thank you to all the children and family entertainers for what you do out there. I feel this is such an important part of our art form, and that's the reason that I do these podcasts. If you want to get in contact with me, please do so through the website. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got somebody that you think would be a great guest on this podcast, or you would like to be a guest yourself, you can submit your suggestions on the website, and I look forward to receiving those so that I've got lots of future guests to talk to, and we can keep this going for as long as possible. I will see you in the next podcast and vidcast. Until then, my name is Gordon, and I'd like to thank you for joining me. See you again soon. Bye.